Manjula, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sanjay Barolia sir has joined us.
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet, okay. Dear participants, this is gentle information about the webinar कि आपको फीडबैक लिंक जो है हम वाया ईमेल के द्वारा आपको भेजेंगे. The feedback link will be sent through email. Those those participants who registered and received the email of invitation of webinar, and they will get feedback link after 3 days of the completion of the webinar. And it is on 18th of October in the evening, they will receive the feedback link for certificate. And then when they will fill their feedback link, then only they will get some e-certificate of their participation of this international webinar. This international webinar on revisiting Gandhian thoughts in 21st century. Now this is over to Ms. Manjula Gaur, the research scholar of Department of History, Dr. Harisingh Gour Vishwavidyalaya. Over to you, Manjula.
Thank you, sir. Live as you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. With these great words of Mahatma Gandhi, I wish you all a very good afternoon and extend a warm welcome to all our revered speakers and all our listeners in this international webinar on revisiting Gandhian thoughts in 21st century. I welcome you all on the behalf of Department of History, Dr. B.K. Shrivastava, sir, head of the department, convener of this webinar, Dr. Pankaj Singh.
Manjula?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Welcome, dear participants and esteemed listeners, to this webinar on the theme Revisiting Gandhian Thoughts in 21st Century. I, on behalf of my entire faculty members of the Department of History and myself, extend a warm welcome to all those listeners present over here on this virtual platform. Friends, as you are all aware that in the first session, we conducted our national seminar presentations of the erudite scholars. That of the keynote address was given by Professor Ravindra Kumar, former Vice-chancellor of IGNOU, and Professor A.N. Sharma was with us, who blessed us with his words. Then Professor A.D. Sharma was there, who happens to be the dosa of this university and is a very erudite scholar. Then Professor Pantibha Pandey, Professor Abha and Professor B.K. Shrivastava, the head of the Department of History, had blessed with their words. Friends, now we are on the way to our international presentations, international seminar, international session of the seminar, whereby we will have the most important thing that I think that since time is dynamic, so this time plays a very crucial role in absorbing and assimilating his ideas and incorporating these ideas to the best of our benefit of our mankind. As his ideas, we feel that they are quite relevant for the time, but it's equally plausible that his ideas may not be relevant or irrelevant because of the time concern in the face of time. So we need to be very cautious and wary of the fact that what ideologies and ideas are ideas which could benefit the mankind for all their gains. So friends, I think Gandhi actually was a man of morality. I do believe that when I say morality, I think that morality is the tool whereby all the instruments of Gandhi emanates, whether it be truth, whether it be all the things, because Gandhi ideologies basically rest on the human principles, humanity. You do anything against humanity, it is not compromising. It is just not excusable. So that is what I personally believe that Gandhi ideas rest on. Since he believed in morality, so he tested everything on this yardstick of morality. As you already know that he launched a potent instrument of truth and nonviolence, and these truth and nonviolence also emanate from morality, and so these instruments became very potent source, very potent tools for ameliorating the conditions of the depressed, of the women, all the segments of the society which are downtrodden and depressed, which have been deprived of their rights and privileges. So what Gandhi feel is that every person is equal. Every person is equal. No person is higher and no person is lower. So on this basic yardstick, he tested, as we all know, so that is why his economic principles adjust whether it be capitalist or whether it be poor persons. But he was to say that capitalist money should be utilized for the larger interest, for the benefit of the poor, for the common masses. Because, but that doesn't mean that capitalists have no rights to stay in the country. They have equal rights, but they are not supposed to gather such a sort of money that our poor get affected out of it. So he believed that since our means justifies our ends, so we should that sort of money which is used for the benefit of masses. So capitalist money is also to be distributed among the people so that major chunk of the population can reap benefits out of it. That is why this Sarvodaya became very popular. And since he was a man of humanism, I am again stressing on this point. So each and every aspects of his, because his ideology was man-centric, human-centric. And that is why, since he know that humanity and humankind and the people of village, people lie in village, the biggest population live in villages. So that is why his approach was village-centric, because we need to provide benefits to the maximum, major portion of our population. And he practiced this in South Africa. He practiced the same approach in India too, because in South Africa he had seen the indiscrimination and injustice perpetrated on the Indians by the Britishers. He was dead against this, and so he just launched a massive approach, massive campaign against this mighty British regime, which was against oppression. So he was of the conviction that any form of exploitation, whether it be thoughts, words, or deeds, is not compromising. Because if anybody exploits the other, it is just inhuman attitude. So in this way, Gandhian approach in South Africa was against this attitude of the mighty British Empire, and that forced the British regime to kneel down. And same was happened in India. Now you see that Gandhi was the person who just got his ideas from Vedas, from Quran, from Confucianism, from Jainism, from Buddhism. So these everything we can understand that he derived all these ideas from number of sources. So that makes him a great man because he was an eclectic personality, eclectic persona. That is why he derived so much thoughts, so much things for the benefit of society and humanity and humankind. He was very influenced by John Ruskin's unto the last. And he was also influenced by Tolstoy and Tolstoy. So he also imbibed his philosophy. So these make him a person with a practical approach, not any doctrinal approach, which could be possible in the real time. So these things make him a saint-like structure. But again, friends, I'm telling that we need not defy him. We need to test them on the basis of time, on the grounds of time. So that will make him a Gandhian approach more successful, more potent in the current period. As we all know that pandemic is on the way. So these approaches are become more relevant now. But again, as I say, that since he was a man of moral science and morality, ethical values, he was against oppression, he was against exploitation, he was against injustice perpetrated on a single individual. Every individual must get due benefit what God has given to the people, what nature has provided to the people. The people should derive the most of it. Nobody could be deprived of this. So on this basic tenet and dogma, Gandhi advocated his philosophy, his ideologies, which become very relevant for the time being. And friends, as we all know that humanity is one factor that cannot be destroyed, that cannot be tarnished, that cannot be diminished by the test of time. Whatever be the time, whether violent time comes, whether we at war, whatever it's, but the single principle that will remain everlasting is humanity. His humanity is ever here. It will everlasting and is always to survive here. So on that tenet, on that principle, I think Gandhi becomes more relevant, more adorable. His thoughts becomes more relevant with the test of the time. So in these perspectives, we had launched this webinar and attended this fora so that our dignitaries, our experts deliberate on these principles and inculcate us with their thoughts, with your words, with your blessing of words. I think with these words, I welcome you all the dignitaries present over here and all the experts who had joined us. I humbly welcome all of you with these words. Thank you very much. Dr. Pankaj, Karuna ma'am has joined?
Yeah. She has joined, yes.
Okay. She's on the line now?
Yeah, she's online, yeah.
Okay. Karuna ma'am, this is very good evening. Very good evening, Karuna ma'am. I suppose it must be morning in USA.
The sun is trying to rise.
Okay. So we gave you a lot of problems and you have to be online. So in the morning itself, I on behalf of entire faculty team of the Department of History of Dr. Harisingh Gour Vishwavidyalaya Sagar, ma'am, extends a very warm welcome to you that you acceded to our request. You just gave your permission to bless us with your words, with the words of wisdom. It is a very great experience, and we look forward to your wonderful lecture ahead. But before that, ma'am, I would like to read out just a brief resume of yours for the benefit of our audience. Please permit me to do so. Friends, Srimati Karuna began her service and dedication to both Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Foundation and the Self-Revelation Church of Absolute Monium in 1998. Both were founded by Swami Paramanand of India, who came to America in 1928. She became the director of Gandhi Memorial Center in 2006 and has devoted herself to presenting the ideals and life messages of Mahatma Gandhi and the spiritual and cultural heritage of India. She also conducts regular services in the Self-Revelation Church of Absolute Monism. The church follows the spiritual tradition of Swami Shankaracharya, Advaita Vedanta, with a totally non-sectarian philosophy. She studied at American University in Washington, D.C., where she received her BA in International Studies, MA in International Peace and Conflict Resolution, and MA in Teaching. Throughout the year, she speaks at universities, schools, governmental and non-governmental organizations, as well as for various professional, social, and religious groups that visit the Gandhi Memorial Center. In 2010, she was invited to India under the Indian Council for Cultural Relations Distinguished Visitor Program. So with these words, ma'am, I wholeheartedly welcome you for a wonderful presentation ahead. Please go ahead. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome, Madam Karuna. I am Dr. Pankaj Singh, the convener of this program, and most welcome to India on the behalf of our Department of History, Dr. Harisingh Gour Vishwavidyalaya, and all the participants and all my fellow friends and Professor B.K. Shrivastava, the head of the department. I welcome you. And it is a privilege, and we feel honored that you have accepted our invitation to deliver your valuable lecture on great soul Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And I am just welcoming you again. Please continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you, Dr. Barolia. And I see Dr. Frank Dhont is also here with us from Taiwan. And I offer my pranam to you and to all of your university. It is certainly an honor to join you, I would say, for you all this evening, but from my standpoint this morning. You might see behind me is a beautiful statue of Gandhiji at the Charka. I am speaking to you today from the Gandhi Memorial Center in Washington, D.C. And unlike the rest of your webinar speakers, I will humbly state that I am not a professor, I am not a scholar, but I do have the interest and desire to share with you a message of the Mahatma in a personal way. And I was thinking of this very idea of revisiting Gandhian thoughts in 21st century. We ourselves are all in the 21st century. Whatever pursuit of study, of the philosophy, of the idealism, of the message of the Mahatma, we are relevant. And what we have to think and to pursue and to practice is eternally relevant. In fact, I would like to state that those of you who are professors and students of history, I believe many of you are from the history department. Remember that Gandhiji is not just for us to study as students of history, but as students of the eternal. And to give you perhaps just a little introduction, because perhaps none of you or some of you have ever visited Washington, D.C., our Gandhi Memorial Center, as Dr. Barolia introduced, goes back many decades. As he mentioned, Swami Premananda Giri, who actually came from Bengal, from India in 1928 to settle in Washington, D.C. And like the rest of the world, Swami Premananda witnessed the life and activity and work of Mahatma Gandhi from afar. And he had in his heart the desire to bring Gandhi's message to America. And though he came initially at the request of his guru, Swami Yogananda Paramahansa, he wanted, of course, to present the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, which, remember, Gandhiji himself said, I am an Advaitist. I believe in the absolute oneness of life. That already is a foundation for his whole premise of Ahimsa and Satya, of course. And Swami Premananda in 1959 established the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Foundation here in Washington, D.C. At that time, it was just an idea, and it beginning to collect this beautiful library behind me that you see, books by and about Mahatma Gandhi, many of which today are out of print even in India, including the original copies of Young India and Harijan newspapers. Many students and scholars, such as yourselves, from the Washington, D.C. area come to the Gandhi Center Library for their own personal study. And then in 1976, it became possible to build this building. So this Gandhi Memorial Center has been here for 44 years, presenting the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi and also the cultural and spiritual heritage of India, which nourished him. Now, you're probably wondering, how did someone like me come to be such a dedicated part of this Gandhi Memorial Center? As you heard, I studied at American University in Washington, D.C., with an interest in international relations, in history, in culture, in philosophy, in world religions. And I had the opportunity as a graduate student to study international peace and conflict resolution. And I will tell you how I came to know about Gandhi's life and philosophy. You would think that someone studying peace studies would automatically learn of Gandhiji's contributions to conflict resolution, to peace building, to nonviolence. But that is not how I was introduced to Gandhiji. I, as I mentioned, had a tremendous interest in philosophy and world religion, in culture and language and literature. And in fact, my pursuit of Gandhiji started with a study of Islam. I was in a class on Islamic sources for peace and conflict resolution. And after studying in that class, where we looked at the Sunnah and the Hadith in the Quran for elements of conflict resolution and peace building, sources for conflict resolution, I decided to pursue a study of another tradition to look for similar sources for peace and conflict resolution. And I turned to the Bhagavad Gita. And during my study of the Bhagavad Gita, I came to know of this library here in the Gandhi Memorial Center. And not being a scholar or student of Sanskrit, of course, I was dependent on the various translations of the Gita. And poring over books you see in this library, weekend after weekend as a graduate student, looking at all the various interpretations and translations of the Bhagavad Gita in terms of its religious value, its societal contributions to its cultural value, philosophical and moral value. It was through the Gita that I was introduced to Mahatma Gandhi. For most of you will know that he had his own translation of the Bhagavad Gita as the gospel of selfless service. And looking to the very dialogue of Arjuna and Krishna, Gandhiji, I believe, drew very deeply the ideal of selfless service, of renunciation, of non-attachment to action, non-attachment to the fruits of one's actions, and perhaps in my own study, understanding a little bit more personally and deeply what that means in terms of ahimsa and satya, is that one cannot be nonviolent if one is attached to the results of one's actions. And so therefore the means and ends, the incontrovertible terms of means and ends, which Gandhiji so frequently spoke of, began to sit with me more deeply each moment, each day, each time I would read from Gandhiji's own translation of the Gita. And as Dr. Barolia described all of the tremendous influences in Mahatma Gandhi's life, above all, if we are trying to seek that which is relevant, we have to seek what Gandhi sought. We don't have to be Gandhi. We have to seek what he sought. And what did he seek at all points in his life? But truth. And the very idea of his entitling his autobiography, My Experiments with Truth, means just that. And that is what we have to take upon ourselves, to always, always experiment with our ideals, with perfecting the ideal of truth within ourselves, with how we live up to it, how we practice it, how we understand it in all circumstances, regardless. Remember the very expression from Krishna in the Gita that we should, under all circumstances, treat heat and cold alike, pleasure and pain, sorrow and joy, to find that equilibrium and balance in life, that we become undisturbed by all of the changing conditions of life. Now that sounds very idealistic and very difficult. And why would we want to do that which is easy? Our life already is such a, as Gandhiji said, razor's